Hey, horror lovers. Two people, two faces of horror. One story begins with a teenage pact sealed in blood. The other ends deep in the woods where someone's always watching. Brace yourself for true darkness. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and tell me in the comments which story chilled you the most. Let the horror begin. I don't think any of us thought it would matter. We were 16, the kind of age where everything feels like a dare. We just finished our junior year, the kind of summer where the heat made you reckless and secrets felt like currency. There were 6 of us: Riley, Marcus, Anna, Ben, Tessa, and me. We weren't all friends, not really. We just hung around the same places and found ourselves in the same stretch of woods behind Eastbrook High one night. Riley had stolen a bottle of whiskey from his dad's liquor cabinet. Anna brought matches. Tessa had this old music box she claimed belonged to her dead grandmother, and Marcus, he was the one with the knife. It started as a joke, a blood pact. We each pricked our fingers and let the drops fall into a rusted tin cup. Riley said something stupid about binding souls and eternity. Then we passed around a red ribbon and tied it around our necks. Just for the look, someone said. No one really believed it meant anything, except Marcus. He took it seriously, said we'd always be connected now, said if one of us ever broke the pact, the ribbon would tighten. We laughed, thought he was trying to freak us out. But 2 years later, Ben was the first to die. They found him in his apartment, slumped over the kitchen table. No signs of forced entry, no drugs, no alcohol, just the same red ribbon tied neatly around his neck. His face was pale, almost blue, like he'd been strangled, but the ribbon left no marks. It just sat there, soft and silent, like someone had placed it on him afterward. The cops called it a stroke, said he must have had some undiagnosed condition. He was 20. We hadn't seen each other in years by then. Life happened, college, work, distance. But Ben's death pulled us back into each other's lives, if only for a few hours. At his funeral, I saw Anna and Marcus in the back pew, heads bowed. Riley didn't come. Tessa showed up late, sat alone. That night, Anna messaged me. "Do you remember the pact?" she wrote. "The red ribbon?" I did, but I didn't answer. 2 months later, Riley died. He was found at the bottom of a motel pool just outside town. His ribbon was tied around his neck again, just like Ben's. No signs of trauma. The autopsy said drowning, but the weird thing was, there was no water in his lungs. Not a drop. Anna called me in the middle of the night. "Someone's doing this," she said. Her voice was shaking. "This isn't coincidence." I tried to calm her down, told her we were being paranoid, but part of me, deep down, had already started remembering things I didn't want to, like how Marcus kept the knife after that night, or how Tessa had started wearing her red ribbon again, right around the time Ben died. I drove back to Eastbrook. The town hadn't changed much, but the people felt colder, quieter. I met up with Anna at a cafe near the lake. She looked tired, thinner, pale, like she hadn't slept in days. She pulled a small box out of her bag and slid it across the table. It was the music box, the one from that night. "I found it on my porch this morning," she said. "It was open, playing." Inside, tucked under the broken gears, was a strip of red ribbon. That night, we tried to contact Tessa, but her number was disconnected. I drove to her house, but it was dark. No cars in the driveway, no lights. Just that empty feeling, like the house was holding its breath. The next morning, they found her. She was lying in the middle of the old high school football field, hands folded, eyes closed, ribbon perfectly centered around her neck. It looked almost peaceful, like she was waiting for something. Anna and I went to the police again, but they brushed us off. No forced entry. No evidence of foul play. Just young people dying under unusual circumstances. That's when I thought of Marcus. I hadn't seen him since Ben's funeral, but I remembered how serious he'd been that night in the woods, how his hand didn't shake when he made the first cut, how he said the pact couldn't be undone. Anna and I found him at his parents' old cabin, about 40 miles out. The place looked abandoned, overgrown grass, boarded windows, but there was smoke coming from the chimney. He let us in without saying a word. The inside was covered in newspaper clippings, photos, strings of red ribbon hung from the ceiling like streamers, and in the center of the room, on a wooden table, sat the knife, the same one from all those years ago. "You knew," Anna said. Her voice was cold. "You started this." Marcus looked at us, eyes sunken and hollow. "It wasn't a joke," he whispered. "We called something that night, something old. It doesn't forget." He said he'd been having dreams of something watching from the woods, of hands made of ribbon reaching through cracks in the floor. He said it spoke to him in sleep, reminding him of the pact, warning him not to break it. "I never took mine off," he said, pulling back his collar to show the faded ribbon still tied around his neck. "But the others did." He reached for the knife. Anna stepped back. I didn't move. "What are you doing?" I asked. "It only takes blood," he muttered. "That's what it wants. One drop, to remind it we remember." Before we could stop him, he pricked his finger and let it fall onto the ribbon. The lights flickered. The air in the room felt heavier, thick and wet, like we were standing at the bottom of a lake. I heard something behind the walls, a whisper. No words, just sound. Then silence. Marcus looked up, smiled just a little. "I think it's satisfied," he said. 3 days later, Anna was gone. They said she left town. Her apartment was empty. No note, just a ribbon, red and clean, left on her pillow. I haven't seen Marcus since. I still have the ribbon. It's in my drawer, wrapped in an old sock. I haven't touched it in years, but lately, I've been hearing music, a faint tune, the one from the music box. And last night I found a single strip of red ribbon on my windowsill. They say blood pacts are just stories, but I don't think we made a pact that night. I think we made a promise, and something out there is still holding us to it. They still call it black pines, though most of the trees aren't even pines anymore. A forest fire swept through the valley almost 10 years ago, and what came back was different, quieter, with patches of dead earth and crooked trees that never seemed to grow right. The campgrounds reopened eventually. They repainted the cabins, laid fresh gravel on the trails, and said the land was restored. But anyone who grew up around here knew better. There was something wrong in those woods, something that had nothing to do with fires or storms. My name is Claire Reynolds. I used to be a junior camp counselor at Black Pines Outdoor Retreat the summer before my senior year. I took the job because I needed money for college applications, and because my best friend, April, had worked there the year before. She said it was easy cash and cute co-workers. What she didn't mention was the history. Black Pines had a reputation, not in the brochures, but in the kind of whispered rumors teenagers tell around bonfires. According to local stories, people had been going missing there for over 20 years. Hikers, campers, even a forest ranger once. Never all at once, just one at a time. Quietly, almost politely. They always said the same thing afterward. The person must have gotten lost, wandering too far off the trail, fell into a ravine, got swept downriver. Anything but what people really thought, that someone out there was hunting. I didn't believe in any of it when I started. I thought it was just backwoods gossip, meant to keep kids from doing drugs in the forest. But that changed the night we found the footage. It was late July and the power had gone out during a storm. The campers were asleep in their cabins and the staff was gathered in the mess hall, passing time with board games and lukewarm coffee. That's when Jonah, one of the older counselors, pulled out an old VHS tape he'd found in the maintenance shed. It was unlabeled. No box, just dust and mildew and the faded plastic of something that should have been thrown away years ago. He said he thought it was some old training video and asked if we wanted to watch it. There was a broken VCR hooked up in the back room of the hall, probably used for nature documentaries back in the 90s. We powered it up and hit play. The tape started with footage of the campground. Familiar cabins, gravel trails, picnic tables, all filmed from the tree line like whoever held the camera was hiding. There was no sound, just the static hiss of old tape. Then the scenes changed. A boy, maybe 12, standing by the canoe racks, laughing with someone off-screen. Cut. A woman sitting by a fire pit, reading a book. She looks up like she hears something. Cut. A man walking into the shower house, glancing over his shoulder. Cut. No screams, no blood, just ordinary moments, recorded from a distance. We watched for nearly 10 minutes before anyone said a word. April was the first to speak. "I think I've seen that guy before," she said, pointing at one of the campers. "His picture's in the archive lodge, the memorial wall." Jonah turned pale. "You mean the ones who went missing?" April nodded slowly. No one else moved. That night, none of us slept. We brought the tape to the camp director the next morning, a man named Will who'd been running Black Pines for over 15 years. He took one look at it and told us not to tell the kids, said it was probably just a sick prank. But I could tell he recognized the tape. He locked it in his office and told us to focus on keeping the week running smoothly. But something shifted after that. The air around camp felt heavier. The woods sounded different at night. And that's when the real fear started. Not because of ghosts or legends, but because we realized someone had been here, filming people, and no one ever caught them. 3 days later, Jonah disappeared. He was supposed to check on the generator that night. It had been acting up since the storm. He told us he'd only be gone 20 minutes. When he didn't come back, we radioed for him. Nothing. By morning, the police were called. They searched the area. Drones, dogs, volunteers. No sign of him. No footprints. Just a single item left behind, resting on the path to the maintenance shed. A VHS tape. We didn't watch it. Not that time. Will locked it away with the other one, and by the end of the week, camp was shut down due to safety concerns. The kids were sent home, the staff dismissed with pay. They never said the word murder, but none of us needed them to. After camp closed, I tried to move on. I told myself Jonah had just gotten lost, maybe hit his head, got caught in a river. But late at night, I kept thinking about the footage, the way it was filmed, slow, patient, personal. It wasn't a killer hunting for sport. It was someone watching. 2 months passed, then April called me. She said she couldn't stop thinking about the tapes, and more importantly, what else might be out there. So we made a plan, just the two of us. We'd go back before winter hit. The camp would be empty. Locked up, sure, but April still had a key from her counselor days. We arrived at Black Pines on a gray morning in October. Fog hung low in the trees. The place felt abandoned, but not entirely still. We broke into the director's office first. The 2 tapes were gone. The cabinet where he'd locked them was broken open, as if someone had pried it with a crowbar. Nothing else was touched, just the tapes. We searched the rest of the camp, cabin by cabin. Nothing, until we reached the storage cellar beneath the kitchen hall, a door we'd always thought was sealed shut. But this time, it was open. The stairs creaked beneath our feet. The air was damp, heavy with mold and something else. Something metallic. At the bottom of the steps was a concrete room lined with shelves and old equipment. And in the center, on a folding table, was a pile of VHS tapes, dozens of them, some labeled, some not. We watched two, only two. They were filmed from the same hidden angles, campers walking, counselors chatting. One showed April from last summer brushing her teeth behind cabin 4. The other showed Jonah, alone by the generator. At the end of the second tape, there was movement. Not a person, exactly, just a shape, large, covered in a dark plastic coat. No face, just boots, gloves, and a long metal object in one hand. The camera tilted slightly as if the person holding it was nodding, and then the tape cut out. We reported everything. The police came again. This time they took the tapes, asked us questions for hours. They said they'd look into it, but we both knew what would happen. They'd shelve the case, say it was too old, too confusing. 2 weeks later, April was found dead. She was in her apartment, no sign of forced entry, no struggle, just her lying on the couch, with a red VHS tape resting on her chest. It had her name written on it. I didn't watch it. I won't. But I moved, changed my name, left town. They still haven't found the killer, because he doesn't run, doesn't hide. He waits, and somewhere, maybe even now, he's setting up his next shot. Watching, recording, smiling. They call him the Butcher of Black Pines. But he doesn't use knives, he uses film. And if you see the red tape, it means you're already in the frame.